Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of FitzRupee Cast featuring DoW2 Retribution. Been a little while. I know I haven't quite been too active, but the beginning of the year is always pretty busy for me. This is episode 101, and I assure you this is not a beginner's Dawn of War video here. We've got four very talented players here. As you can see, we are on the Imperial City map that has been raided by Orcs, Golgotha Depths. A very fun 2-on-2 map. Before I get started, I wanted to remind you guys there's 3 weeks left till the Throne of Skulls 2 vs 2 tournament coming up Saturday, February 16th. You got 3 weeks to find a partner and practice up. Should see a lot of great games coming out of that. Lots of big players going to be involved. I expect all you folks that hang out in Elite Mod usually to be involved with that. I want to see you all. I should be casting it live. That's the plan right now. I'll get a couple other casters involved in that, hopefully. And it should be a great time. So get signed up for that, practice your 2-on-2, and bring the big plays. What else has been happening? Oh, for those of you that haven't kept up with the gaming news, THQ has gone ahead and sold off all of its studios. Of course, Relic included. Relic has been sold to Sega, very big, well-known company. If you don't know Sega, you probably aren't too familiar with games in general. But, you know, I hope everyone that's involved in that, all the devs and everyone else that are involved with that huge turnover, especially the poor folks at Vigil, the makers of Darksiders, no bid went out on their studio, so I'm pretty sure they are pretty much down for the count. So hopefully all of them land well on their feet. My heart goes out to all that kind of thing after being involved at the disruption of Big Huge and 38 Studios myself. Always feel a little upset when you hear about that kind of stuff in the industry, but such it is. It's a volatile industry, and it's always up and down and a bit crazy. But enough of that. Let's talk about the game. Hopefully, Relic will be in some good hands now. Creative Assembly, I believe, another Sega-owned company, owns the right to Warhammer Fantasy, so I'm sure that 40K will hopefully remain in the hands of Relic in the times coming. So hopefully we'll be seeing some Dawn of War 3 happening in the years to come. But let's take a look at what's going on. Golgotha Depths, a pretty fun 2-on-2 map. We've got on the blue side Mr. Asmon, and his suffix varies depending on what day he's playing. I've seen Asmon Ellington, Asmon Azorus, and several others as the Tech Marine, my main man, the Tech Marine. His ally, his brother in arms, both French players actually representing the country of France, Mr. GuruSkippy as the Orc Mech Boy. Then we've got a powerhouse red team, if I've ever seen one. We've got Toilailee as the Imperial Guard Lord General, kind of the commander he really made a name for himself with. And then HolyHammer appearing on the field as the Warspider Exarch. And HolyHammer, really a player known for being able to really play any race and any hero and make it work. So actually we've got all four ranged commanders, so we'll be seeing a kind of big crossfire intensive game on Golgotha Depths tonight. And normally the way this map goes, you kind of see it, you kind of see the map split kind of across this way. If you look at the VP layout, you've got a VP and 2 power on this side for the Reds, and then a VP and 2 power on this side for the Blues. So kind of giving a diagonal split right across the center of the map here for the central VP. Both teleporting commanders on the left side of the map over here, jumping into some garrisons, trying to cause some hurt while taking minimal damage. Unfortunately for the Mech Boy, he's not really in any position to pour out any fire, and the Warspider is stranded as well. On the other side of the map, Toilailee's gone ahead and secured that secondary power node, popped the cap, and the Sentinel is going to start opening up on the Tactical Marines and the Tech Marine himself. Stomping over that green cover, really exposing the Tech Marine. You can see how much more damage you start taking right there, and having to fall back pretty quickly. Then the Lord General is, of course, going to engage those Tactical Marines in melee and really try to mitigate some of that range damage. They're continuing to stalk down those infantry guardsmen right there and push them off. They do get the retreat, but they're going to have to fall back. They've got to be very careful. They're probably getting low on model health right there. Looks like all three will be getting out, though. Banshee's on the field for HolyHammer, double guardsman and a sentinel for Toilailee. And GuruSkippy's gone the classic double shooter boys, which we are seeing in the center right here. They look like they've walked up, going to engage these Banshees. They may actually be able to take them on, but the Banshee's getting lots of knockdowns, which makes all the difference. The Scouts helping out, trying to get those Banshees down a little more. One of these squads might be going down. Banshees actually go down on retreat right there. Sentinel came in to try to support, but it was too late. That's a big early loss for HolyHammer. I actually kind of would have expected those Banshees to win that, especially with the knockdowns they were getting there. It was pretty congruous with one melee battle right there, but the Scout Squad was putting in just enough ranged DPS, and with the Sentinel coming in at the end, I guess that was just barely enough to take out those Banshees. The Sentinel didn't get there in time to stomp anything. So that's a big loss for HolyHammer. He's going to have to come back from. He's getting himself a second squad of Dire Avengers to kind of keep some map presence going here, and Toilailee's going to have to pick up the slack for that quick loss. Toilailee sending his Sentinel in there, trying to scare those attacks into falling back. He kind of stalled out and waited to use that stomp at an opportune time. A lot of people will try to dodge that Sentinel stomp, but you can really just use it as an intimidation factor right there. You can just have your Sentinels stand on top of a squad and see if they want to maneuver around or stand there. And that Sentinel stomp is a nice little mind game. It's easy to play and just generally pretty advantageous. Anyways, double shooter boys putting some pressure on the Guardians on this side. Guardians have plenty of green cover back here to deal with. However, one squad moved up a little too far, trying to deal with the threat of the Slugger boys, which were sneaking around the far side here behind these towers. A grenade didn't quite connect, and the Guardians were forced off of the field. Slugger boys actually going to go ahead and do a little repair job there real quick. Warp Spider jumping around. Gonna get the cap on the VP over here. Red team pretty solid on map control right now, despite that early loss from HolyHammer. Toilailee's putting down that infamous multi-blast turret right there in front of the blue natural power farm. Red team's got the majority of the power, and if this power farm goes down for the blue team, they're going to be severely on the back foot despite that early win against HolyHammer. Toilailee's gotten himself an artillery spotter after seeing that Devastator Marine squad on the field, and there's a second Dev squad coming out as well for Asmon. Scouts trying to get into position to maybe put a little pressure on these guardsmen and get a retreat grenade off, perhaps. They do have their Sarge upgrade. Toilailee went ahead and canceled his turret, knowing it was about to go down, doomed to fall. Scouts dropped that grenade a bit prematurely, but the blue team did manage to save all of their power on that side of the map. GuruSkippy managed to react nice and quick, saw that the power farm was under threat, and got there to help out Asmon before any real damage was done. Blue team's taken the center power by the VP. They're down by about 100 VPs, but about to turn it back into their favor. They're capping the central VP, and they need to get their own natural one, but not really stressing that too much. Nice artillery strike right in the middle of the tanks and the Tech Marine. Even though the artillery strike doesn't do much damage, its utility is great. It does just enough damage to slow down tactical Marines, keeps them from getting in melee, and leaves them on their back for a few seconds, so they're not doing any real damage. And of course, the smoke screen that we just saw go down almost negates any possible ranged fire right there from a Devastator. Allowed that Lord General to just go right up, charge in, and melee. Devastator needs to retarget, though, as the Sentinel is pouring fire into the Devastator squad, down to 2 members, but very low. And now Guardsman from the other side pouring in fire, too. It needs to retreat, but it doesn't, and goes down. You don't want to lose a squad that early. That Devastator had barely done anything, and now the Warp Spider's here. Devastator's actually going to have a lot of trouble right now dealing with this current composition. The Sentinel can charge one. If he had kept the other one alive, the Sentinel would have a hard time charging the line against 2 Devastators. But with the Warp Spider out here as well, he can kind of just jump on the rear Dev, disrupt it, and then allow the Sentinel to get in there. So both of the red team going into Tier 2 right now. Looks like the blue team had spent a reasonable amount of power and not having too much extra to go with. The red team's had their natural gen farm and been working on filling this one up in the meantime. Blue team does have 2 of the contested ones and recently put up a couple generators in the center, so they'll be catching up in tech relatively shortly here. Luda's on the field for GuruSkippy as well. Looks like they're hanging out back by the power for right now. GuruSkippy's playing a little reserved right now as Toilailee's trying to lock down the center part of the map. The center is interesting. I always feel like it's a bit favored for the blue team simply because of this platform right here. It's an excellent place to set up artillery, set up squads, that sort of thing. Any kind of ranged platform you can really put up there to great effect. But the blue team, or the red team rather, does have some nice sight blockers, which can be detrimental or very advantageous depending on how you use them. The artillery spotters can hide behind them very well. Here comes a shot right down on that Devastator, disrupting the incoming suppression on the Lord General army. He's pushing in right now. He needs to get on that Devastator, though, before it starts setting up again. Look at the smoke. See how minimal that is. I actually think it should be a little bit less than that on that range reduction. It should probably be, at least allow the Devastator to stop at melee if you run right up to it, because on that small of a range, you should be able to flank it pretty easily, but you can just kind of run right up on it without much issue. So Asmon is the last person heading into Tier 2. HolyHammer's already gotten himself some Warp Spires. Looks like he's just going to abandon the Banshees, go for a ranged build at this point in the game. And he's going to steal that blue team's power right there. Going to claim those Orc Generators for himself and capture that. In the meantime, the blue team had gone ahead and grabbed some power of their own. All the contested power nodes kind of changing hands pretty effectively there. Tac Flamer doing a good job of dealing damage to the infantry of the Lord General. There have been some medkits popping all around, trying to keep them healthy and prevent any real wreck loss in general from that. Asmon going now for a Devastator cannon, or sorry, a Plasma Devastator. And in the meantime, in the center of the map, Mechboy under a lot of stress as he's getting wailed on by some Warp Spiders and a pair of Guardian squads. Luda's getting set up and going to be able to suppress everything. Warp Spiders teleport out, but the Weird Boy drops a nice shot right into the pile of Guardians. And the zap goes off. That's going to carry the damage right back to the Warp Spiders most likely. Let's see if it jumps right onto them. It does. Slugga's trying to cap, but they lost a few models to the Warp Spiders, which then had to retreat under shoot of fire. Lord General's decapping this blue team power under fire. Use the refraction field to be able to get that decap in, and managed to actually keep all his members of his retinue up. He has both the Sergeant and the Commissar now, which gives him med packs and the refractor field ability, which we just saw recently. Sentinel getting perilously low on HP, but with two Guardsman squads back there repairing it, it's not in too much trouble. Until this Plasma Devastator drops a nice shot. Oh, but it misfired. It must have lost sight. Gotta use that attack ground with the Plasma Devastators whenever you can. Looks like a forced retreat over here by a creeping Basilisk Barrage from Toilailee right now. Just happened in this general area. Sent all the Orcs packing except for the Weird Boy. Buying HolyHammer some time to get back on the map. Now with two Warp Spider squads and two Guardian squads, so some pretty severe firepower output potential right there. As GuruSkippy gets himself some Stick Bombers, which I think is actually an excellent choice considering the current makeup. You can see Asmon got himself the Plasma Rifle for the Tech Marine. I don't know if he was either expecting the Ogrins or has seen them already. But that's really the only thing that Plasma Rifle is going to be effective with. It's also very good against the Sentinel, that's true. But primarily he's going to be using that overcharge for the Ogrins. And a beautiful shot from that Plasma Devastator right into the pile of Guardsmen. Down goes the Sentinel to the combined power of the Plasma Rifle and the Plasma Devastator. Oh my goodness. Nice grenade from the Scouts, trying to deal as much damage as possible to the Ogrins, but they are immune to suppression right now thanks to the Carapace armor and the Stand Firm ability. One, you cannot suppress Ogrins as Space Marine. That's a huge threat to anything you can really bring around. Meanwhile, in the middle of the map, engagements happening all over the place. We've got Warp Spiders trying to out-DPS some Shooter Boys, but down goes some Stick Bombs. Stun Bombs hit, but they are retreating anyways. Another creeping Basilisk Barrage going down. Mechboy teleports out of it just in the nick of time. Ludaboy's still up and ready to suppress, but that Lord General's moving in on him if they don't retarget quickly. There it goes. Just barely got him, but it looks like he's going to be able to get into melee anyways. And all of his retinue members are going to be able to open up on those Ludas. They decide to fall back because the Mechboy wasn't quite in position to support them. And it looks like Toilailee's going to go ahead and just destroy this generator farm over here. Knows he can't quite invest any more time in holding it, so decides just to destroy the power instead. Asmon went ahead, got himself some Sturd Guard veterans, which are going to be a big threat to all the infantry on the map right now. HolyHammer now with the third Warp Spider squad. And oh my goodness, Slugger Boys just narrowly escaped death. Oh, I speak too soon as all 3 squads teleport in, finish off the squad, and fall back. And that's pretty much what HolyHammer's going to have to do. It looks like he managed to get 3 Warp Spider squads, but lost one of his Dire Avengers. Stick Bomber's got a nice little retreat volley right there. But with 3 Warp Spider squads, what he's going to be wanting to do is try to isolate squads just like he did and just completely annihilate them. The DPS on those Warp Spiders is insane, even on retreat. So if you can find a squad unsupported and follow it back home, you should be able to kill it even on retreat. So we'll have to see how he continues to play that and if he does choose to try to assassinate those squads. Grenade hits a lone Ogren right there. I'm surprised those scouts don't have any shotguns on them yet. Mortar goes down, doesn't quite connect with anything. Scouts stopped short, saw it coming. Tech Marine in a lot of trouble though. He might be able to get out of there. And here comes a Plasma Devastator shot. Nice hit. Slows down those Ogrens. Stick Bombers scare off all of those Warp Spiders. HolyHammer needs to make sure he tries to warp those in a bit more spread out because those Stick Bombers are a huge threat. If that volley hits just right, those Warp Spiders are going to be in a lot of trouble. He has the Weird Boy, or no, GuruSkippy lost his Weird Boy. I guess probably to those Warp Spiders at some point. I'm sure with that many Warp Spiders on the field, a single unit entity like the Weird Boy is very hard to keep alive. He's bringing another one on the field right now. And Toilaillee's gotten himself a Manticore as well. 215 to 467. The blue team's been doing a good job of staying on the field, but they're really just not holding map. GuruSkippy's really gotten beaten up here recently. These Warp Spiders, and HolyHammer not afraid for a little cheese. He's going to go straight for the 4th Warp Spider squad and just go out and decimate anything that shows its face. Here comes the all 4 squads right now, and look at those scouts. 2 instantly fall. But Toilailee left his artillery squad out there a bit too far. Looks like those Stern Guards just took a nasty shot from, I'm guessing, a Manticore strike. Warp Spiders teleport in to take out that Plasma Devastator, but they all get suppressed. Tech Marine actually with Bionics armor, which actually came in handy right there. He's really just geared up to help deal with those Ogrens right now. I'm not sure if this Plasma Devastator is going to get out of there. The Warp Spider Exarch actually does pretty reasonable melee damage. Going down to 1 HP, and the Warp Spiders teleport out. Oh my goodness! Very narrow escape right there. Tech Marine uses his Bionics, but it was a bit of a fail as the Bonehead had just been activated. Terminators teleport in, but that is not where they want to be. Taking fire from Warp Spiders, the Lord General, and a squad of nice healthy Ogrens. 1 Terminator goes down. Ogren is still full and healthy. They have to fall back out of there right now. With 4 squads of Warp Spiders and Guardsmen on the field, I kind of feel like those Terminators might actually want to get their Flamers instead of the usual Assault Cannon, because just the ability to have that Incinerate ability and that AoE damage is really going to be effective against this pile of infantry that's on the field right here. Stick Bombers throw a quick volley just to slow down the incoming Lord General pile. Flash gets on the field, been doing some damage for GuruSkippy, but they have to retreat in the face of all those Warp Spiders. Oh, it's so ridiculous. Mech Boy's trying to get out of there. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do it. Ogren's relentlessly chasing him down. Warp Spiders come in for the kill and obliterate him. Oh, Warp Spiders hurting feelings for the blue team. Really what he needs to do is just get that Weird Boy back out and combine that with a Stick Bomber barrage or something and just obliterate a squad or 2 of Warp Spiders if he can. But it's going to be difficult to do that. He's bringing out some commandos as well, so maybe some burner bomb action with all the DACA could bring an end to some of these Warp Spiders too. But right now they're kind of running the field and causing hurt to the Orcs. Orcs, of course, pretty heavy on infantry armor, so the Warp Spiders just shred them without much regard for anything. Toilailee Gonna lock down the center of the map. Got his guardsmen upgraded with plasma. They're pretty well leveled as well. Level 3 guardsmen and now a chimera on the field, which, as I was saying, the blues have this nice ledge right here, and that's exactly where the flash skits are going to hang out. But using these sight blockers, these crates actually can't be fired around. So you can really just hide that chimera in the back and use that to constantly reinforce your guardsmen. Wow, look at these stern guard in a lot of trouble. Taking some melee shots, taking a lot of fire from those warp spiders. But you can see warp spiders just do not too much damage against these Terminators. And that would have been the perfect time to have that flamers when they were all just sitting in a pile. But they're going to have to get out of there. They fall back right now. Oh, looks like a lot of stuff just died over here. Must have been some stick bombs blowing up some guardsmen. Actually, a whole squad went down, it looks like. Missing a bit of the action as there's engagements constantly happening on both sides of the map. Commissar teleports in just in time to save that guardsman squad, 170 to 460. The blue team really needs to pull itself together and get some map control here. Of course, against Toilailee and HolyHammer, I mean, it's a tough match to win, to say the least. Weird Boy is back on the field, and now a couple sources in knockdown to really kind of keep those warp spiders and ogrins at bay. Here comes another creeping basilisk barrage. Warp spiders once again teleporting in and causing some hurt wherever they can. Terminators do have the flamer. They did actually get the flamer upgrade right here. And warp spiders actually kitted out with a very obnoxious disruption kind of build. He's got the entangling web to hold those Terminators still, and then he's got the anti-grav grenade. And look at how much damage those warp spiders have taken from that Terminator flamer. It's actually just very effective against light infantry, especially when it's in a pile like that, of course. 138 to 460. Mech Boy with his def gun. If he had his beamy def gun right there, he would have been able to chase off that chimera a bit more easily. He might need to do that anyways to help take out this heavy turret that's hanging around in the center. Manicore strike on the center, but GuruSkippy spots it in the nick of time and pulls his army back out of the strike range. Weird Boy took a little bit of a hit there, but he's looking all right, all things considered. Oh no, it looks like Toilailee might have not been paying attention right there. Lost his Lord General right in front of the Space Marine base. So that could be a little bit of a break there for the blue team. Both sides, though, sitting on pretty reasonable armies at this point. Both sides have lost some squads. Both sides have kind of brought it back together, too. But red team's constantly on top of the map control right here. Stick bombs going down right on top of the capping guardsmen. They're trying to reinforce off that chimera and managing to stay on the field despite everything. Nice Weird Boy shot right into everything. And then a warp vomit right on top of all of them. Warp Spider's forced to fall back, and that's exactly what you need to do. Oh my gosh, look at the spread on this barrage from the Space Marines. Lasers dropping from space, but really not accomplishing much. I don't know why he used that over here when the Warp Spiders were stunned on this side of the map. He should have just dropped it here, here, and here, and just caught all those Warp Spiders on retreat. That was the perfect opportunity, but instead he kind of just wasted 500 red. Really what they need to do is just isolate those Warp Spiders and take them out if they get the opportunity to. But I'm not sure how much of a chance they really have. They're down to about 100 VPs. A battle wagon is coming out for GuruSkippy, which could make a big difference here as we're heading into the kind of end game. Terminators, again, moving around. If you keep clicking your units when they're entangled, they'll actually stop shooting. So if you notice that your units are entangled, just hit stop and allow them to at least shoot there if they can't retreat. Down to 2 Terminators on this squad, getting pretty low on health. They're trying to go around this way to evade that Ogren squad in the possible retreat path. Meanwhile, Commando's cloaked right in the middle of this big battle, getting the decap right there. Nice little play. Manticore's trying to bombard that Stern Guard squad, which is inside everything there. And oh my gosh, here it comes! The rocks right on top of the Warp Spiders that just came out of the warp gate. Oh my goodness, was that 2 squads down? Warp Spider might go down as well. Yes, he does! Huge play right there. Combination of the Commando's knockback ability with a nuke. And look at all the Warp Spiders just hanging out right there. Oh my goodness. Sweeping back, Solus Barrage goes down as well as the mech boy teleports right into point-blank range and unloads a salvo into the face of the Lord General, taking him down almost instantly. Gonna try to cap under fire with that custom force field right there, which is a very effective defensive ability. As you can see, it prevents the Ogrins from attacking him at all. Battle wagons now on the field are going to start pouring fire into those Ogrins. It doesn't look like it has any squads in it, however, though, so it's really not operating at maximum efficiency. Doesn't have any of those extra guns shooting, and it's not going to be as quick either. But wow, oh, actually a third Warp Spider squad went down there as well. Actually, several died on retreat. I must have missed what finished that off right there.
Ready for duty.
But wow, HolyHammer taking a huge blow right there. Wow, look at all the bodies with the 2.10 patch. The corpse persistency is back in the game, and you can really just see the damage of this battlefield right now. Terminators, scouts, warp spiders, hordes of guardsmen everywhere. Manticore strike once again preventing those stern guards from staying on the field. I feel like that Manticore has constantly just been being used to stop those stern guards. Heavy weapon squad on the field, las cannon to help deal with that orc battle wagon. I hear stick bombs going off all over the place. HolyHammer heading into tier 3. Asmon with tons of resources. I'm not sure what he's saving up for at this point. Either more Terminators, or actually it looks like in the chat that's what he said. Talking a little French, but I did see something about Termies in there. And some Assault Space Marines coming onto the field. That's an interesting choice. We'll have to see how that works out. I really think a tank would be a great choice at this point in the game. Now that all those Warp Spiders are off the field, you don't have to worry about multiple Haywires going off and taking you out. There's a las cannon out, of course, but really I feel like, again, these sight blockers kind of work both ways to kind of keep your vehicles alive. A nice big shot coming in from the battle wagon on that guardsman squad, and combined with the flash kits, tons of range fire going down here in the center, and we knew that was going to kind of come down to a huge range battle considering the current armies. Oh man, with the Haywire grenade going down, Eldritch Storm drops on top of the battle wagon. The las cannon's going to finish it off, it looks like. It's stunned in place. Rear armor hit does the job. Battle wagon is off the field that quickly. And that's really the best way to use an Eldritch Storm, I guess, is to just completely annihilate a super unit like that. Chimera, realizing it's in a bit of a bad position, gonna fall back. Toilailee finally pushed off the map after kind of hanging out in the middle for so long. And you can tell just by looking at the battlefield how long he's had those guardsmen holding out there. Here comes an anti-grav grenade going down on those tactical stern guards right there. They're going to continue capping the map. They've activated a Space Marine Knows No Fear, but they can't retreat right yet. Oh my goodness! And a beautiful Manticore strike obliterates the squad. Wow, that was nasty. Asmon is not happy about that. Can't retreat, he says. Not out of the Manticore strike or, of course, that nasty anti-grav grenade. HolyHammer retorts with "Tell that to my warp spiders," and I would say to that, what warp spiders? I think all the ones that were involved with that little calamity no longer exist. HolyHammer now with a fire prism, a nice stark white fire prism right there. Pretty nice looking tank. I love how the fire prism looks. It's such a cool looking vehicle. Anyways, back in the center of the map, blue team's trying to hold on here. 338 to 92. They've got under 100 VPs left, but after that, Rock's really been able to come back on the map with a bit of renewed vigor. Commandos trying to take out that heavy weapon squad. Burning Bomb went down. Toilailee noticed a bit too late, and down it falls. Haven't seen those Assault Space Marines do too much yet. They're upgraded with their Thunder and Lightning and their Sarge already. So we're going to have to see if that kind of late game investment really works out for him, because at that point he could have pretty much just bought some Terminators. But Asmon's not going to spam the Terminators, going instead for Assault Squad and now a Librarian as well for some very nice support coming from the Space Marine army. And there goes some Fire Prism shots in the center. that very long-range kind of artillery support tank there. Gonna start pouring some fire into those orc squads. HolyHammer still harassing as much as he can with his last remaining Warp Spider squad. Tech Marine completely misses the toss on the orb of the Omnissiah. And there are just more and more Guardsman bodies showing up in the center as Toilailee tries again and again to capture that central VP.
Understood.
It's really, I mean, the blue team can still bring it back if they play it tight. But the red team has plenty of EPs to mess around with, and they've still got the time to bring this game back. Avatar's coming out here shortly, so that's going to make a difference as well. This fire prism and this kind of vehicle build's working out very well, though. It's really not much anti-vehicle at all on the field for the blue team. There are some knobs heading out. Really been seeing some fun stuff from GuruSkippy. Normally, as soon as you see Tier 3 from Orcs, the knobs come out, but we saw Commandos first, and they really proved their worth already this game. Knobs get tossed in on that fire prism, but a nice use of Entangling Web keeps them from doing any real damage. Weird Boy dodges a Guardian Grenade as that fire prism continues to pound away. And look, we're seeing exactly what I was mentioning, that Chimera is just constantly hiding behind these boxes. However, the Librarian and Terminators are moving in on this fire prism, and there is a Melt-A-Bomb going off. Melt-A-Bomb actually is able to throw through, it looks like, that sight blocker, and the Terminators are going to be able to finish off this slowed fire prism, I think, as that anti-gravity grenade was already used. A nice play there by Asmon, using the combination of the Librarian, Assault Space Marines, and the Terminators to single out that fire prism and take it out. That's another big loss for HolyHammer, but his Avatar's on the field here and gonna start moving in to cause some trouble. Finally spotting that warp gate on that side of the map right there. It's gonna get taken out by the Commando Knobs and the Weird Boy. Assault Space Marine's gonna lose that fight. Looks like the Librarian's trying to stick around and stall while that Tech Marine gets some plasma shots in on the Ogrins. He finally falls back, and Tech Marine's just trying to buy as much time as he can for those Terminators to get out of there. One of them goes down. Ogren's still relentlessly chasing them. And I'm not sure, I think they have their teleport, but it looks like the scouts are going to come in to reinforce with a shotgun blast. Tech Marine has to fall back, but he's going to be retreating right through Ogrins. Is he going to go down? It doesn't look like it. Yeah, he is going to narrowly evade death right there. Meanwhile, in the middle of the map, HolyHammer's moving in with the Avatar while Toilailee heads into Tier 3. Oh, and we have phase shift on the field from the Warp Spider. Warp Spider can be attacked while he phase shifts now, as you can see. He's taking some damage right there, and it looks like he might actually go down as the Orc tank finishes the job. A nice Wailing Doom does some heavy damage to those knobs as the Ogrins get reinforced right there by the Vox Operator. I'm not even actually sure where's the Lord General in all this mess. There's a lot going on right now. Space Marines coming in from the east side as the Lord General and his forces, along with the Avatar, hanging out in the center, trying to pick up his ally in the middle of all this fire. Here comes another Melt-A-Bomb. Terminators trying to get in, the second new squad of Terminators here. Here comes a Manticore strike right on top of the Space Marine army. That Orc tank getting a bit too close, though. Needs to be very careful. There's not much AV on the field, but you don't want to get caught out of position at this point in the game. The blue team's really starting to bring it back here, so they don't want to lose anything. They don't have to. Gonna have to play this very tight to stay in the game at this point. HolyHammer really bringing the Tier 3 power on the field. He's now got a D-Cannon out here as well, dropping a Singularity right there on that ramp, trying to dissuade any Orcs from falling back and keeping them stuck on the map right now. Word pass being activated to try to pull those Orcs away from the Avatar and the Warp Spiders for the time being. Another Wailing Doom going off right on top of those Terminators. But they can actually take the hit pretty well, all things considered. 156 to 92 as the central VP gets whited out once again, and everything gets stalled out for the time being. Both squads of Terminators now hang out in the center. The tank's trying to get away, but it looks like the mech boy's actually trying to set up behind it. That could be it for the tank. It needs to get out of there. Mech boy teleports away just in time to allow that tank to get away from the Avatar. So a lucky break for that looted tank. You really have to keep that in mind, especially with things like setup squads. They do have priority over vehicles, so they will just sit there and block it. Tank's trying to move in to kill that Avatar, but it's got to be very careful. It's very low on health. There's a D cannon and Ogrins hanging out in the meantime. It looks like it's going to get away, though. Although here comes a creeping barrage right on top of it. It stopped moving, so to allow that to fire, the Tech Marine has the red to pop Blessing of the Omnissiah, but it looks like that tank's just going to sit there and get pounded by Ogrins here momentarily. The Avatar just went down somewhere. Another... Oh no, the Orc tank actually survived against the Ogrins. Heavy turrets got its Executioner upgrade. I'm not sure where the Avatar went down. Looted tank's moving back in. It's going to have to be very careful with that turret there in the center. It does manage to take it out, though, with that last shot. But a Haywire Grenade's about to go down on that tank. I'm not actually sure if it's got enough HP. It does not, even with the mech boy sitting there repairing it. One lone War Spider went in and finished the job. That's kind of a big oops right there from GuruSkippy, but he's still got a sizable army. Got some nice leveled up squads here. Everything's sitting at level 4, nice and pretty. 146 to 92 still. Blue team hasn't lost a VP in quite some time after getting knocked down so very low in the start of the game. Another squad of knobs coming on for GuruSkippy. Toilaillee's got 2 mana cores on the field. He's just been bombarding everything. I'm surprised Asmon hasn't tried a little harder to take that out. Asmon looks like he lost quite a bit of stuff himself. Lost one of his Terminator squad. That must have been the Avatar battle, I guess, that we missed at some point. Stick Bomb is trying to point blank drop sticks on that tower, but it looks like they couldn't quite do it. They either overshot it or that was a misclick trying to finish up that D cannon. Oh my goodness. There's so much death and destruction. This game's actually been going for about 35 minutes now, and it's still anyone's game. War Spider's going to be able to retreat. Fire Prism takes a Melt-A-Bomb, but I think it's going to be okay. It's far enough back that it's not really too much of an issue. See the Tech Marine running around with his Melt-A-Pistol and getting his speed boost from Veil of Time. Always makes him a major threat to vehicles. Chimera's been on the field for so very long. You don't see Chimeras normally last this long, but when they stay on the field like this, they are such a pain to deal with. Toilailee's brought another heavy weapons squad onto the field here. Sitting back, waiting for that suppression, as the Tech Marine just pounds away at the Chimera. He got a nice orb shot right there. Toilailee knew the thing was gone, so he just dropped some mana core shots anyways, just to try to take out some enemy troops in the meantime. HolyHammer's getting himself a Seer Council to bring onto the field here shortly. I'm not sure if that's really going to be able to contend with the amount of orcs that GuruSkippy still has out here. Terminators force off the heavy weapons team, and it looks like they're going to move in on that victory point. They really need to try to scare off these Manticores, and it looks like they are going to do that. They instead decide to fall back for the time being. Knobs once again getting the entangling web on him and knocked all over the place. War Spider's trying to engage the mech in melee, but he's got his custom force field up. And wow, with a nice shot from that beamy death gun, finishes off the Fire Prism. Teleports out from under a mana core strike just in the nick of time. And the VPs are still kind of neutral. Seer Council's trying to engage in melee with these knobs. They activated their frenzy, but it's wearing off now, and the knob falls quick right there. Mech Boy tried to use his battery pack to keep those knobs on the field, but decides it's better to just fall back for the time being. Red team's trying like hell to capture the central VP and tick away those last few victory points of the blue team. But HolyHammer's just not been able to keep his army together for the later part of this game. He just keeps losing all his expensive stuff. He's lost 2 fire prisms and an avatar, even after all those warp spiders. Manticore strikes go down, don't quite connect with anything. And the Seer Council's in a lot of trouble. It needs to get out of there. The Nobs might actually finish it off. But the Manticore strike, along with a little knockback, looks like it managed to prevent it. Rock's going down on the central VP, preventing the cap. The Seer Council does barely escape. A nice shot from the Weird Boy going off right there, slowing down the Ogrins and allowing those Nobs to get into melee range, while everybody's just desperately trying to get some sort of grasp on the VPs here. 92 to 113. The red team is in full retreat. They don't have much field presence now, with only a couple infantry squads and a couple mana cores as support. But
an ally hit. Victory is but a prelude to
oh my goodness, battle. And it looks like, oh, that's a shame, but it looks like the red team threw in the towel at the last minute here, just realizing there's not much they could do to get back on the field. GuruSkippy had a very beefy army, and even though Asmon didn't have nearly as much, Assault Marines and Terminators are nothing to scoff at, especially when there's a Librarian on the field and the Tech Marine himself sitting happily at level 10. So, man, a shame that didn't get played out to the end. It was a 37-minute game, and they still quit early, so that could have gone on a good deal longer. But I guess the red team just recognized all they really had to take onto the field was a Seer Council and Ogrins. Of course, they had their basic starting squads as well. But really, the main power was kind of in these mana cores, the Seer Council and the Nobs, and with the Ogrins. With 2 Nob squads and plenty of melee interruption on the field, it would have been very difficult for them to take the field. So I guess they were just feeling fed up and frustrated. Lots of oh my gosh, look at this. Look at the center field here. Oh, I don't even know how many bodies that is. That's all of them. That's all of the bodies. And that's completely ridiculous. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the game. What a game it was. Wow. Just goes to show what happens when 4 top players clash right here. So, anyways, this is Red-Rupee. Don't forget to start practicing for the Throne of Skulls 2-on-2 tournament, brought to you by DJ Rafa. I know I got yelled at for saying it was Eye of Horus. Eye of Horus is offering some prize support, but it's being headed up by Mr. DJ Rafa. So props to him for bringing that together. He's been doing some great stuff recently. Anyways, this is Red-Rupee. I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for watching.